the record, and hopefully everybody can see my screen okay. If you guys have any questions in this particular segment of FSBOs and expires, please let me know. I'm actually gonna, I'm not gonna use too much of a PowerPoint type of presentation. I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about some of the things. I'm gonna take you off mute and unmute everybody so you can ask me a bunch of different questions along the way. If I feel that, when I'm talking and everything, that, if I hear some background noise and everything, I might just put you on mute for a minute. Okay. But I kind of want to go over this particular segment on for sale by owners and expires. We'll talk a little bit about the FSBO market today. Is there anybody out there on the webinar right now that's working for sale by owners? Any of you guys, trying to attempt it?
Yeah, that's my goal, to try to attempt it. I always try, but I get scared.
Okay. Well, what do you get scared of, Gloricel? The situation where they're hanging up on you and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's one of the things, that when they hang up on me, but also some of them, when they say yes, I start questioning myself. Oh my God, why they say yes? Oh my God, they want to kill me.
Yeah. I mean, no, I know what you're saying. Let me tell you a little bit about the statistics with for sale by owners. I want to talk to you about that. When I first, and I'll kind of give you the history of why I like this subject of for sale by owners. When I first started, and remember, I've been in the business. It's going to be 20 years starting actually in July. I can't believe 20 years has actually gone by so fast. But the situation with me, and I hear some background noise, so I'm going to mute you guys real quick while I just tell this story, okay? The situation with me is I started in 1999, which is many moons ago. I can't believe it's been so long. But when I first started, they always tell you in real estate to try to stay in your warm market. They try to say, work with friends and family and your sphere of influence, and do, and stay there, because the fact that for sale by owners is a cold market, and also the expired market is cold. And what that basically means is you're going to get a lot of resistance from for sale by owners. Okay, and they don't like us, and there's a couple reasons why they don't like us. And number one, we make too much money. Okay, so they don't want to pay that exorbitant amount of commission that they have to dish out. All right, so there's a ton of people, all right, that want to do it on their own. And in today's market today, most people can do it on their own, but a lot of them just don't understand the type of work that's involved, okay, when you're working the for sale by owner market. And statistics say, again, and I'll kind of jump back and forth in my history. Statistics say that 85% of for sale by owners basically can't sell it on their own. There's only a 15% margin that are selling it on their own right now. All right. So what is that saying? It's saying that they try it, and then eventually they end up listing with a real estate agent. So we still have that opportunity, okay, of basically listing the property, going after them and getting the listing. And when I first started in going way back, all right, we didn't have the do not call register. All right. And what that would mean is I could call any for sale by owner on the phone, and my conversation would go like this. Hi, is this Lauren? Lauren, this is Richie Palladino with Century 21 North Shore. And basically what I would get is slam, right? Slam the phone down on me. They don't want to talk to us. okay? Because we're charging 5-6% commission. All right. So the key is we needed to establish a relationship with the FSBO, okay, and actually try to find a way to get in there and talk to them. Now, the do not call wasn't in effect, so I could solicit the listings going way back to 1999 all the way up to 2011 before they changed the do not call. Now, those of you who are familiar with the do not call registry, okay, when it comes to for sale by owners, what are they trying to tell us? All right, why did they change it? Well, the do not call on the FSBOs says that we could contact a for sale by owner today, but we have to go about and saying to them that we have a qualified buyer for their property. In no way can we solicit their listing like I used to do years ago. So how is that a problem today? Well, it's a problem where I can't call Lauren and say, hey, listen, I know you're selling your property on your own. All right. I know it's difficult, but if it doesn't work out, can you let me know and I could possibly list your property? See, I can't say that today. When I make the phone call to for sale by owners today, all right, I have to say, hey, listen, Lauren, I commend you for selling your property on your own, but there's one question I want to ask you. If I had a qualified buyer for your property, would you compensate me? That's the only conversation you can have with a for sale by owner today, is you can try to get them to pay you a commission for a qualified buyer going into their property. Now, our whole objective in FSBOs today is we want to get the listing. So, but we have to play that little game that says we have, if we did have a qualified buyer, can we bring them over? All right. So you have to change your dialogue today when you're dealing with for sale by owners. So here's my dialogue today. Let me just get back to my story real quick, and I'll lead up to my dialogue. So when I didn't have a sphere of influence to work on, all right, I studied the FSBO market, and again, those percentages were a lot higher before the year 2000. They were about 90% of the people couldn't sell their property on their own, okay, and they went with real estate agents. So I said, listen, I'm going to try to focus on the FSBO market. All right, I'm going to try to call them. I'm going to wear that bulletproof vest that I need to wear because I know they're going to hang up the phone on me. But I'm going to work them religiously, right, and see if I can crack into them, all right, and see if I can see if I can build their trust and confidence that I can list their property somewhere down the road. All right, so I worked them. But as I started working them, again, I was getting hung up on a lot. Once they heard Century 21, all right, slammed the phone down on me like crazy. And I said, this isn't going to work. But what had happened is my life changed a little bit near the end of 1999. I was in the business for only about 6 months, and there was a Century 21 convention in San Diego, California. And I remember this like it was yesterday. They had a national convention, and they had little breakout sessions. And on the breakout sessions, there was a girl who was doing a class on for sale by owners. So what I did back then is I got my little recorder, all right, that I had. I took my notepad. I got there about 15 minutes early. I wanted to get a front row seat because this is the type of market that I was dealing with, that I wanted to deal with. And I sat in the front row and I took notes and I had my recorder and I listened to what this girl from California was doing in the FSBO market. And guys, she sold, I remember the numbers, she sold 157 houses in 1 year, and they were all for sale by owners. Okay, and I was like, wow, how is this possible? That's crazy. It's absolutely insane. And I said, well, California was a little bit different back then. If you can remember in 99, houses were selling like hotcakes, but to do 157 sales in 1 year, okay, is incredible. So I was like, okay, what are you doing different? How can I focus on this particular market? So she was using a letter that I'm gonna show you the letter on my laptop today, and I can also send you that letter. I took the letter and I took all her notes and I took it back with me to Massachusetts, and I used her approach step by step, which I'm going to give you today. All right. I used it the first year full time in the business, and guys, this is the God's honest truth. Okay. First year in the business, I sold 37 houses in the year 2000. 35 of them were for sale by owners. Okay. So I use this technique and it worked for me. All right. I took the letter and I didn't share it with anybody. Okay. Which I'm going to share with you. I've been sharing the letter for the last 5 or 10 years with people since I've been doing sales training. Some people might be working them. Some people might not be. Some people might be using the letter. They might not be. But the whole goal of what this girl was doing is she was building a relationship with the for sale by owner. So when the time came, all right, that the for sale by owner became sick and tired of being sick and tired, they would contact this girl and they would list the property with her. Okay. So I'm going to show you a technique that I use. Going way back, right? And then she used the same thing. We used to have printed advertising. And the printed advertising was through the Boston Globe and the Boston Herald. All right. We don't use printed advertising. You can get everybody online right now. All right. So you get the the phone numbers and everything online. So what I would do is Saturday night when the paper came out, I would circle 3 for sale by owners. And her technique was you need to go and see them. Or more importantly, you need to call them up and you need to use this script. So let me tell you the script that I used. Okay. I would call up. I would first of all, every for sale by owner, we can get the information from public records. All right. What their first name is, who owns the property. I can look in the registry of deeds or whatever. But when I would call up, this was the line that I used. Let's just say, Lauren, I was using you, right? And you were selling your house on your own. I would call you up and I would say, hey, Lauren, this is Richie Palladino at Century 21. Don't hang up. Okay. Now that was the line, and I see a smirk because I can see your picture right through the video here. I can see you now. I couldn't see you over the phone, but if I got a little bit of a chuckle, all right, that means I cracked the for sale by owner. All right, that's what I wanted to hear on the other end, or that's what I wanted to experience on the other end. And this was my conversation. Hey, Lauren, I know, excuse me. I know you're selling your house on your own, and I commend you for that. Okay, and I noticed that you have a house on 123 Main Street or whatever it is. I was wondering, okay, and I'm not here to solicit your listing. This is what I use today. I'm not here to solicit your listing. I want to know, Lauren, would you pay me if I had a qualified buyer for your property? Now, a FSBO, when they hear that, they're going to give you one of a few different answers. They're going to give you number one. We're not dealing with any realtors right now, so no, we're not paying them any commission. And at that point, you would turn around and say, "Thank you for your time. Do you mind if I send you any literature? Can I send you some literature out? If you change your mind." And most likely they would say, "Yeah, sure. Send me whatever you want." If they say yes, that's fine. Put a nice little package together, whatever, send it out to them. All right, a nice little thank you note. You appreciate you talking to them, Secondly, they could turn around and say, "Well, what are you asking for?" And you would always start on the high end. Now remember, if you do a co-broke deal with people in the industry today, they're going to give you 2% commission, right? If you get 2.5% or 3%, you hit the mother lode, you hit the jackpot. But most people are only going to give you 2% if you work in the co-broke side. So when I worked a for sale by owner, I would say, well, I normally get 3%. and see what the FSBO says. If the FSBO says, no, there's no way I can give you 3%, but we can give you 2.5%, you would say, well, great. That would be excellent. Now, remember, getting 2.5% as opposed to 2%, you could put them on the list if you had qualified buyers, right? You could put them on the list, and you could get a better commission than if you did it with someone on MLS. So let's just say the FSBO said, sure, we'll give you 2.5% if you had a qualified buyer. Where do you go from there? The next step that you would do is, I would love to come by your property and preview it if you don't mind. See, a lot of people don't take it to the next level. So one of the things you need to do, all right, is ask them, listen, I would love to come by and take a look at the property. I'll be there for about 10 or 15 minutes. I like to take some notes and then go back to my office and see if I had a qualified buyer, if I have someone that is willing to buy your property. You know what people go wrong in when they're working FSBOs is they use what they usually say, okay, is they usually say, I have a qualified buyer for your property. Would you pay me a commission? Guess what? No one has a qualified buyer for their property because of the fact that you haven't seen it yet. Okay? So you can't go in with the assumption, if I call Lauren and said, listen, I have a qualified buyer for your property. Would you pay me 2.5%? If the FSBO says yes, what's the FSBO got to say? Bring the buyer by. You don't have a buyer. So automatically, you don't start a good rapport with that for sale by owner. You have to turn it around and say, if I have a qualified buyer for your property, if and when, would you pay me 2.5% commission or 3% commission? If they say yes, now's the time to say, can you show me your property? Can I preview the property within the next day or two before you do your open house so I can see if I have someone for it? Guys, that's how you set up the appointment to get in and see a for sale by owner. Okay? A lot of for sale by owners say, sure, why don't you come by? You turn around and say, oh, great. Would Tuesday at 3 or 3:30 be better? 3:30 is good. Okay. It's almost like you're going and do a CMA. Okay? It's almost like you're going to do a CMA. You're going to meet a stranger. When you do a CMA, your ultimate goal is not only to get the listing, but to build a rapport and a relationship with that for sale by owner. Okay? So you set up the preview of the property with the FSBO. Now, when you go and see the FSBO, and I'm giving you all techniques that the girl used to sold that property and all techniques that I've used when I did the FSBO market. When you go over and see a for sale by owner, you need to look the part, act the part, dress the part. Okay? You're not going over in dungarees. I don't need to tell you guys this. Dungarees, sneakers, you're looking good. Okay? You go over there. You always go over. You're not going over with a CMA. You're going over with your notepad, or you're going over with a clipboard, which I was told to use. See, if someone comes over your house with a clipboard, what are they going to be doing with it? They're going to be taking notes, right? You're going to be taking notes. But some of the things you're not got, that you need to focus in on when you're going to see a FSBO is you got to be a good question asker, which means you're going to ask the FSBO a number of different questions when you get there. You're not only going to be taking notes on the property, but you need to ask the FSBO these questions. So let me backtrack. I go over there. Now remember, when you're going on appointments, you get there early. You never want to be late. Real estate agents tend to be late on everything they do. That's our reputation. Get there early. It's like if I was to go on an appointment today, I get there 15 minutes before the appointment. and I knock on the door and I say, I'm sorry, I'm a little early. I hope you don't mind. This is what you need to do. This is going to train you to be a good agent. So you get there, you knock on the door, you give your business cards like a regular appointment. If it's a husband and wife you're going to see, you give your business card to both of them. Those of you who have seen my listing presentations, treat them both on an equal playing field. Doesn't matter if the husband's name or the wife's name's on the mortgage or the deed or whatever, and the other person's not on it. Give them both a business card. Okay, give them a business card. You walk into the FSBO, say, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming over. I really appreciate you allowing me in. I wonder if you could just show me, this is what you need to say to them. Can you show me around the property as if I were a buyer? Point out all the good things. Point out all the bad things about the property. I'm only going to take a couple minutes of your time. The FSBO's got to take you around and show you the property. As they're taking you around, yeah, you're making notes of the house. But these are some of the questions you need to ask. And I have these to send everybody, all right, through an email. You don't have to take notes today. If you are, good for you. If not, just send me an email and say, Richie, I need the client. It's called the client qualifier questions. That's what they're called. Here are some of them. Mr. and Mrs. FSBO, great. This is a beautiful house. Where are you going? Why did you decide to list it on your own? How did you come up with the price? How much do you owe on the property? If it doesn't sell, what is your alternative? What's your time frame of moving? How fast do you want to move this property? These are some of the questions that you need to ask them, and I have a bunch more that I can give you to a client qualifier. But as you go around that house, you need to finish that conversation with that for sale by owner by asking them questions. Why do you need those things? Because if a FSBO turns around and says to you, if I say, when are you looking to move? And if they say immediately because my husband's relocating and we need to be in another property, within the next 30 days. See, why am I asking this? They're not going to waste time doing it on their own if they don't sell the property. They're going to go with a professional. They're just trying it on their own right now because they heard the market was so good. But if it doesn't go, they don't have enough time because the husband's relocating, they're changing jobs or whatever. They need to be out of their house. The sense of urgency, guys, is going to be so important because if someone's looking to move quickly, you got to stay in touch with them because when they do make their decision that they want to hire a real estate agent, because you were there and they put a face to a name, you're going to get an interview to list their property. So let's go back. You ask them all the questions. You say, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Are you doing an open house this weekend? If they say yes, I'm doing an open house between 12 and 2 on Sunday. Me and my husband are doing it. You say, great. I'm going to go back to my office. I'm going to check my database and see if I have anybody for this property. If I do, I'll probably see you again on Sunday between 12 and 2. Now, guys, even if you don't have anybody to look at that property, which most people don't, you want to get in front of that FSBO again on Sunday. Okay? You take all your information down. You leave. You leave your business card. Say, I wish you the best of luck. Remember, when you go into a FSBO's home, right, are you going to criticize that house in any way? You're not gonna.
No way.
No one criticizes FSBO's house because you're dealing directly with the owner. If I walked into your house and you said, Richie, I'm looking to sell my house, am I going to say, oh, that's hideous wallpaper. I hate your decor. I hate this. Lousy house, no flow, worn out, worn down. I'm never going to say that to you. I'm always going to find something nice. This is what, when a FSBO does property, when they market their property, they're going to get people like us walking in that are going to be praising them. But in the back of my mind, on the back of your mind, when you go to a FSBO's house, you're gonna have an opinion of what you think. Okay, and I'm gonna go into that with you too afterwards. So you end the conversation, all right, by saying, "Great. Hopefully, I have someone. I'll see you. Hopefully Sunday at 12 with my buyers. Have a great day. Good luck," and you leave. Now, Sunday comes. Let's say you don't have anybody for that house, which most people don't have anybody for a FSBO's house, because remember what our objective is. If we have someone, we want to co-broke with that FSBO, but I would say 9 out of 10 times we don't have anybody. So what's your other objective? You want to list the house when they can't do it on their own, when they get sick and tired of being sick and tired. So this is what you do. Sunday, you're going to go to the open house. You don't have anybody. All right? They're doing an open house between 12 and 2. When is the best time to go see a FSBO when they're doing an open house? Anybody? Warren?
I don't know. At the end?
Right. Okay.
See how it went? Yeah.
You're exactly right. If a FSBO is doing an open house from 12 to 2, I get people that say, oh, well, I'm going to go at 11:45 before it starts. Do you think a for sale by owner wants to see a real estate agent at 11:45 on a Sunday when they're all excited about saving a commission and not going with us? And they're all excited about setting up and selling their property on their own? They don't want to see an agent right away. They already saw us. You can't go at 12 o'clock till, in the middle of it, because hopefully they have a flow of people there. And so do you think they're going to stop what they're doing at their open house to talk to us again? What about at 2 o'clock when it ends? You want to go exactly at 2? No. You know why? The FSBO could shut the door at 2, or they could have had a lot of people and shut it earlier, or they might not have had any people and they don't want to discuss anything with anybody. The best time to go see a for sale by owner, guys, is at 15 or 15 minutes before the open house ends. So this is what I used to do. Drive up, wait in front of the house, wait till all the cars are gone, and then walk in. As soon as I walk in, they know who you are because you already saw them during the week. And so you say, hi, now you know the person by name. Hey, Lauren, how you doing? How'd you do today? You know what the FSBO is going to say, especially if they had a flow of people through? They're going to turn around and they're going to say, well, we had a ton of people here, Richie. We had 10 to 15 people. Few of them said they're going to come back. A couple of them said they're going to put offers in. It went really good. Fantastic. I usually say, Lauren, that's great. I didn't really have anybody to come by today, but I'm still trying to find someone for it. But you're probably going to sell it before I even have a buyer for my property. So that's fantastic. Now, as I'm talking to the for sale by owner, I'm looking to see how a for sale by owner sets up. Do you know, guys, when we do an open house, what do we usually do? We bring a guest sheet. We bring business cards. We bring display sheets or MLS sheets. We have signs for the property. We might have baked a pie. There might be cookies there. There might be water there. Who knows? But we're watching how a FSBO sets up, because most of the things that we have, a FSBO doesn't have. They don't have nice, colorful display sheets that we get through either Toolkit CMA or through Zap. or through Business Builder. A lot of them don't use guest registers, but if they do, that's great. Do you know a lot of them don't have contracts to purchase? They don't have lead paint forms. They don't have agency disclosures, seller's statements. We have all that, don't we? You know, a lot of them don't have nice professional signs, lawn signs that say open house. They get things through Home Depot, or they get things through Lowe's or something that says, for sale by owner. They don't. So we're trying to be observant to see what they actually have. But in the same sense, we want to encourage them and say, looks like you're gonna sell it. Looks like you had great activity. I'll check back with you and see what happens. And you leave. You're only there for 5 or 10 minutes, maybe, when you go and see the open house again. Okay? Or you could turn around and say, listen, I might have missed a few things when I was here during the week. You mind if I take a couple more notes and just walk around again? See, you saw them twice now. Okay? Hopefully you build a little bit of a good rapport with them. So now you leave on Sunday. All right? You go back, you come into your office on Monday. What do you start doing on Monday? Well, you start being observant and say, listen, I went to the Fizbo's house and they only had a typed out sheet of all the amenities in the property. It wasn't so colorful. You know what I'm going to do for that Fizbo? I'm going to make a nice display sheet through Toolkit CMA and drop it off to them. So what I do is I go on Toolkit, all right? I create this beautiful little brochure of their house. Down below of the brochure, I put compliments of Richie Palladino, Century 21 Northeast. Now I call them back on Monday. Hey, Lauren, it's Richie. Tell me you sold it. Oh, Richie, well, we got a busy week coming up and everything. People got to come back like I told you yesterday. Hey, Lauren, I hope it sells, but listen, I got something for you that might help you if you ever get to another open house again. Will you be home between 3 and 3:30 today? I'm going to be in the area. I'm doing an appointment. Yeah, I'll be home. I got to drop you something off. I can't stay because I got to run. I got to fly. I got things to do. But I want to drop you something off that might be helpful to you. Do you mind? No, that's okay. Okay, good. I'll see you then. Guys, at 3 o'clock, 3:30, I drive by Lauren's house. And I print up 20 sheets, display sheets, that she can use at the next open house if she's going to do another one. And I pull in the driveway and I leave the door open. Why do I leave the door open? Not so I want my car stolen, but why I leave the door open is if she looks out the window and she sees a car with a door open, what does that say? The person's not staying. Leave the door open. Knock on the door. Lauren gets to the door. Lauren, here you go. I got to fly, but I thought I'd just make you this. I'll get back to you later and explain to you what I did for you. Thanks. I got to run. Get in your car and you take off. Now, give her a call back that night. You see where I'm going with this? Here's a Fizbo that usually hangs up the phone on realtors, and I was able to see her 3 times over the last 3 or 4 days. Now I call her back Tuesday. Lauren, I'm sorry, I couldn't stay yesterday, but I hope you liked the display sheets I did. Lauren might say, well, she could be a little curious and say, why is this guy helping me? He's not making any money out of this. I told him I wasn't going to list the property. I told him if he had a buyer, he doesn't have a buyer. Why is he doing this? If Lauren ever confronts me about that and says, Richie, can I ask you something? I said, sure. Why do you do this? Why are you doing this, to give me all this stuff? You know what I turn around and say? Lauren, this is the policy that I do with my company. We work with sellers and we help them out. In return, all we ask sellers is if maybe someday they have someone that's looking for representation, that maybe you can send them our way, and we can help them out. But these are some of the things we do in our company just to assist sellers in selling their property on their own. Now that puts Lauren's mind at ease and say, oh, well, you know, I don't, okay, his company, I guess his company does that for everybody, so I'll accept this. Now, guys, remember, if it's not the display sheet that you make, what else can you drop off? You can drop off contracts to purchase, because we have a million of them through Dot Loop, right? You can drop off seller statements to them. Anything that you can drop off that's free to us and might benefit them, you want to drop that off. Now, let me tell you something. This is where I made all my money in the year 2000. This is what you guys got to gear yourself up towards. All right. And what it is this conversation right here. I call Lauren back, all right, on Tuesday and explain to her what I dropped off on Monday. And I say, Lauren, let me ask you a question. Did anybody set up another appointment yet to come back? Most FSBOs, they, you know, like I was telling you before, if you're working a FSBO, all right, when people walk through the house, they're not going to discuss, they're not going to shoot down a FSBO for the decor in there or what they like about it. Just like if I walk through your house and you were a FSBO, I say, yeah, this is beautiful. Are you accepting offers? Or I want to bring my wife back. I want to bring this back. I want to bring this one back. See, they lie. And what the FSBO does after these people leave, because they have mixed emotions, all right, and they don't tell the FSBO the truth, all right, what they do is they get all excited. And they say, yeah, you know something? You know, they talk to their husband, talk to their wife and say, yeah, we're going to sell it on our own. These people love the property. They're going to be back. They're going to put an offer in. You think those offers are coming? They're not coming. Because usually a customer will come into a FSBO's house and and let's just say they say, yeah, you know, you'll be hearing from me. Usually when they go out to their car, their wife or their husband is waiting for them. And they usually say, don't bother going into that house. That property is hideous. They want this amount of money. They're crazy. I told them we'll be back putting in an offer. We're never going to be putting in an offer. So the hopes of a FSBO go all the way up to the top. And no one ever comes back. It could be a few different reasons, just like the marketing today that we do. It could be overpriced. Could not show well. Okay? Number of different things. Maybe a lot of people don't like to go through for sale by owners, which they don't. You know, because they know FSBOs want top dollar for their house. There's no people that are negotiating like we do for people. But they get their hopes up. And it all comes crashing down. So when you're calling a FSBO again and saying, did you sell it? Let's say you're calling midweek. Did you sell it? They say, no, we're waiting for people to get back to us. This is what made me my money. I would say, hey, Mr. Seller, let's say I was talking, let's just say it was the wife, right? Mrs. FSBO. Let me ask you a question. You said you had 10 or 15 people that came through your open house. Is that correct? Yeah. Did they write down their names in oh yeah, we have a guest sheet that we had out and they wrote down all their information. Mrs. FSBO, did you ever follow up with those people to see what they really thought of your property or if they were going to come back? Do you know what FSBOs usually say? No, I don't really like to do that. I don't like to call them back. This is what made me all my money. I would say to them, hey, listen, let's say it was Lauren. Listen, Lauren, you know what I'd like to do for you? I would like to follow up with those people that put their name on your guest sheet. Would you mind if I came by and picked up that guest sheet from you and followed up and let you know exactly what they thought? Do you know over the course of the year 2000, guys, I must have picked up a half a dozen guest sheets. So what did I basically pick up when I got them? I picked up a marketplace. Let me tell you what I did. I went over Lauren's house. I picked up the guest sheet, and I said, Lauren, I'm going to follow up with these 15 people today for you and then drop this off to you tonight. She would say, you're going to do that for me? I said, yeah, I'll let you know what they thought. Is that okay? Sure. Just let me know, Richie. Okay, great. I would call the first person up. Okay. Hi, is this Bill? Bill, this is Richie Palladino with Century 21. No, you don't know me. A good friend of mine, Lauren, who did an open house on Sunday, she had an open house on 123 Main Street. You recall that house? It was a 3-bedroom, a colonial house. Oh, yeah. I remember that house. Hey, Bill, just trying to get her some feedback of what you thought of it. So Bill turns around and says, we liked the house, me and my wife, but there was one problem. What? We have a large family. We needed a 4th bedroom. It didn't have room for a 4th bedroom. Bill, you've been looking for 4 bedrooms? Yeah. I might have some other houses in my inventory. I think I could help you out. Are you working with a realtor right now? No. I could help you free of charge. Why don't I get back to you the next day or two and see if I can send you some updates of some 4 bedrooms in the area. Would that help you out? Sure, that would be great. Guys, I made one phone call for the FSBO. I wrote down on the FSBO sheet, not interested, needed a bigger house. Meanwhile, what did I just pick up? I just picked up a new buyer who's looking for a 4 bedroom in the area. That was one call. I called the second person. Hi, is this Sue? Sue, this is Richie Palladino, Century 21 North Shore. I know you don't know me. A good friend of mine, her name was Lauren, did an open house at 123 Main Street. And I'm just trying to get some feedback of what you thought of the property. Oh, I remember that. Well, we liked it. Me and my husband liked it, but we got one problem. We're not really ready to buy yet. Oh, why? What's the reason for that? We didn't put our house on the market. Oh, really? Do you have a realtor to help you with that? No, we didn't really hire anybody yet. You know something? I work for Century 21. I do free market analysis. Would you be interested? And maybe if we get your house on the market, maybe you'd have an opportunity to buy this house that the FSBO is offering. Oh, you do that for me? Yeah. How about if I come by this weekend and I run an analysis for you? That was the second call I made. I write down, they need to sell their house first. Meanwhile, on my sheet, I got an appointment with Saturday at 1 o'clock to go see them for a CMA. You see where I'm going with this? I go down the list of all 15 people. Guys, for a guy who didn't have a marketplace, who was focusing on the coal market, all of a sudden the FSBO gave me their sheet to follow up, and I'm now creating buyers and sellers on the other end. Now, there's not going to be a lot of people that are going to do that at an early stage of you working with the FSBOs. Okay? But if you're able to pick up, the longer it goes, they might have more confidence in you. Let me tell you, let me tell you some scenarios that go on. If you continue to see them and drop them off things that they need, all right? You're building a relationship with them. Now, when they become sick and tired of being sick and tired, what I mean by that is when no one's biting on their property, they're going to basically list it with someone. Because this is how the conversation is going to go. The husband and wife are going to come home one night and say, Jesus, we haven't had any bites on the property. We need to put it on the market with someone. We need to bite the bullet and pay commission to a real estate agent. Who should we go with? If you had a good relationship with the wife or the husband, guess what? You're on that list for an interview. Hey, let's go with that guy, Richie Palladino. He's come by 3 or 4 times, blah, blah, blah. Let's see what he has to offer if his company can list it. Now, let me tell you, that conversation is going to happen eventually. It happens 85% of the time, like the numbers say. But let me also tell you when you have to go in for the kill when you're dealing with the FSBO. See, how FSBOs work is usually you have a husband and wife. You have boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it happens to be. There's one person that does the showings. There's another person that takes the appointments. Okay? Whatever name is on the sign in front of the house and whatever number is there, that's the person that takes the appointments. Then that person calls up whoever's home, and the person that's home is going to get the house ready for showing. That's how it works. Okay? So let's use a FSBO scenario. You got your name on, let's just say the husband got his name on the sign. He's at work all day. The wife's a stay-at-home mom. She's got kids and all that stuff. All right? So put a sign on the property, got a cell phone number on. The cell phone rings. The guy answers, hello, this is Rich. Hi, yeah, I was interested in the house on 123 Main Street that you had for sale. I was wondering if me and my wife can come by and see it. So the person on the phone describes the house. The customer wants to see the property. The husband turns around and says, I'm just going to confirm with my wife that tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock is good. So meanwhile, the husband calls the wife up. The wife says, yeah, what's up? We got a showing tomorrow morning at 10. Oh, at 10 o'clock. I mean, that's right in the middle of everything. I got to get the kids ready for school. I gotta go shopping. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. Then I gotta get the house ready. Oh my God. So the husband turns around and says, well, listen, we need to sell this house. We need to show it. All right, I'll get it ready. I'll make sure it's up for, I can show it. Who's gonna get sick and tired of being sick and tired first? The person showing the property. Those are the people that you need to wear down. Okay? Remember we said the wife is a stay-at-home mom. If you want to have a conversation with that wife about the house as a real estate agent, so we're real estate agents, when is the best time to call that wife on the phone and start talking to her? Is it early in the morning? The answer is no. Is it the middle of the morning? No, no one's going to answer. Is it right around the time she picks the kids up from school? No, she's not going to answer. She's not going to have time to talk. Is it at supper time? No, that's family time. Is it right after supper time? No, that's when she gets when the parents get the kids ready to go to bed. When is there a good time? I'm going to give you the hours. Between 3 and 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when you call a FSBO. Why that, Richie? Because studies say, and also my research has said, that the wife or the parent will pick up the kid at school, okay, go home, they do homework, and now the parent is getting supper ready. They haven't talked to an adult all day, okay? No adult has talked to them. Maybe the husband's called once and whatever, but they've been busy all day with the kids. But they do want to talk to an adult. When you call, they will talk to you between those hours. That is the best time to call a FSBO and start a conversation about their property. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you another situation where I made a ton of money. And remember, all these scenarios are getting in front of people. All right? Is so important. Because what real estate agents do today, guys, all right, what they do today is they'll go to an open house and they'll leave their business card. And that's it. You know what they say? They walk in and they say, oh, hi, I know you're doing I know you're selling a house on your own, but if it doesn't work out, here's my business card. Keep me in mind. They will not go the extra 9 yards that I did when I was focusing on FSBOs and what this girl did from California when she sold a ton of them. You got to go see them a million different times. Okay? When you drop the ball, and hopefully you don't, that's when you get burned. let's just say you go see a FSBO on Sunday, and now all of a sudden you're supposed to call them Monday, and you wait till Wednesday to call them. Because this conversation happened to me. On Wednesday, I call, and you know what they say? Oh, I'm sorry. We just listed it with Joe Smith from Remax. Last night, we decided, me and my husband, that we couldn't do it anymore. You don't want that time to come. You want to keep in touch with them every day, every other day. So you got to kill them with kindness, start conversations, build a relationship with them. So when the time comes and they crack, this is what you want to do. Now, when's the cracking point? This is the cracking point. When you call and talk to a FSBO, and the conversation goes like this: "Hey, Lauren, it's Richie Palladino with Century 21. How you making out on the house?" Richie, not too good. Why? What's the matter? I don't know. All these people that said they were going to come look at it, they never came. We're kind of running out of time. My husband's relocating, and we don't have a whole lot of time. We have no offers on the table at all. People are making broken promises. They say they're coming by, they're not coming by. People submitting offers, they're not submitting offers. I'm just a little bit frustrated right now. Guess what, guys? This is the conversation where the FSBO is throwing the towel in. This is when you need to go in for the kill, and you need to say, "Hey, Lauren, can I ask you a question?" Sure. "Hey, Lauren, did you ever think of going with a company or going with a person that can alleviate all this stress, that can sell you a house in a good, timely fashion, that can have a company that could take all the pressure off a homeowner and, and to get a homeowner in a position to sell their property quickly?" My company at Century 21 and myself, we're very aggressive when it comes to marketing. We work on the listing side a lot. And I would love to sit down with you and your husband, right, and show you our marketing strategy to help you move this property before he has to relocate. I know you've been doing it on your own, but you only have so many resources. I only have so many resources. But if you ever wanted to list your property with a big company and possibly even come out with the same amount of money, might pay a little bit more in commission, but still come up with the same amount of money, I would love to sit down with you and your husband tomorrow night, either 6 or 6:30, and show you my marketing strategy to get this property sold. Would that be worth your time? Guys, when is this conversation? When will that take place? It could take place in a month, a week, 6 months. It all depends on when that FSBO has had enough. Okay? You have to work 3 for sale by owners at a time. Why, Richie, 3? This is what they told me. One's going to sell it on their own. One's got to list it with another real estate agent, and one to list it with you. Work 3. When I used to get the Globe, I used to circle 3 open houses that I was going to go to. An early one, a mid-afternoon one, and a late afternoon one, and get there 15 minutes before. Because if you work one FSBO and they sell it on their own or they list with another company, you will shut down as a real estate agent. All right? You will say, this isn't worth it. I worked so hard on this FSBO, they end up listing it with a competitor or a friend of mine. You got to work 3 at a time. You got to use the law of numbers. Now, how do you find FSBOs? You find them by driving around and looking at their signs on their property. They're usually small signs with you need binoculars for the number. Okay, they're on the internet. They're on isoldmyhouse.com. They're usually trying to cut corners because they don't want to pay us any money. You need to go find them. Okay. I usually tell people, drive around. I'll work a FSBO with you if you want. I love working FSBOs. If I see them a lot, I've been so busy doing other things, but I'll show you how to work that market. Well, the point I was trying to make is I got a great story to tell you. All right. There was a little old lady in the Saugus area. All right. When I first started, this is way back many, many years ago. I don't know if she's even alive today, but her and her husband in their 70s, selling their house on their own. All right. This was Saugus, Mass. And she had one of the most expensive houses in the area at that time. All right. And I used my technique with her, and I was trying to wear her down, and she was tough. Killing her with kindness. No, we're going to do it on our own. Me and my husband have plenty of time, Richie, this and that. I appreciate it. Bring me a buyer. I'll pay you. Whatever. I wanted that listing so bad. Okay. So, probably about a couple months into her listing the property and everything like that. I happened to be in Home Depot when I was walking around, and I see one of those for sale by owner lawn signs. And I know that she had a small sign on her property. And again, you need a binoculars to see the husband's number. All right, that was written on the sign. And I was in Home Depot and I saw these signs. They were like $15 for a lawn sign. I said, for sale by owner. I said, I'm going to get this. I'm going to call Rose up, and I'm going to try to kill her with kindness and put a new sign on her property, So I grabbed the sign in Home Depot. I call her up on the phone, say, Rose, you got to be home. I got to drop something off to you that I found in my office. I didn't tell her I was at Home Depot. She said, yeah, I'll be home, Richie. I said, okay, great. I'm going to stop by. So I go in front of her house. I knock on the door. She comes to the door. She says, oh, hi, well, you want to come in? And do you have a buyer for me? I said, no, Rose. I was actually in my office. I found this sign that's a lot bigger than the one you have on the front lawn. Oh my God, that's a huge sign. I said, yeah, this might help you out. You've been trying to market it for 2 months. We can't get anybody for your property. Maybe this can help you out. She said, can you put the sign up? I said, sure. I go take this little dinky sign off the front lawn, right? And I got this big lawn sign. I start hammering it in with the mallet and the hammer, and I put it on the front lawn. So then I knock on the door and I said, Rose, do you have a Sharpie? I'm going to put your husband's number on it. She said, yeah, wait a minute, 1 minute. She goes to get the Sharpie. And as I'm walking over to the sign, she said, Richie, can you come here for a minute? And I said, what? She said, can you do me a favor? I said, what? She said, can you put your number and your name on the sign for me? I said, what? I almost fell over. I said, what do you mean? She said, you think you could screen some people out for me? You think you can screen them out? And if they're serious, then, we'll pay you a commission? I said, sure, I'll put my name on it. I put Richie, my cell phone number on the sign. So now I walk away. I said, is this happening to me? I said, here's a $900,000 house and my signs on someone's property. All right. And I said, I can't believe this is happening. People got to be calling me. And no sooner than I was thinking out loud, my phone rings. Someone says, hi, are you the owner of so-and-so street? I said, no, I'm not the owner, but I'm in the real estate business. I'm trying to help them out. Can you tell me about the property? I said, yeah. So I said, the property's that 3 bedrooms. They got it on the market for about $899,000. It's a little bit too small. Do you have any? I'm pre-approved for $1.5 million. Do you think you can help me? Are you kidding me? Of course. I said, sure, I have other things. Let me see if I can put you on an automatic search. People were calling me up on that sign. It wasn't even my house. Now, that'll never happen to any of you. Well, I hope it does. But I never thought it was going to happen to me. But it just so happens that I built such a great relationship, guys, with that owner. Okay, that she wanted me to put my name on the sign, which I did. It's incredible. So I worked that market like you would not even believe. Okay, and again, 3 every weekend, went and see them, wore them down, sold a bunch. That's the technique that I used. I told Jim, the owner of the company, about it. He said, let's put a packet together. We can drop it off. It's called we'll do a FSBO packet. I said, Jim, you can put one together, but I don't really want to do that. I don't want to do a package because if you put a package together for a FSBO, if you drop that package off, you utilize all your resources. I want to give them small things here and there and kill them with kindness. Now, guys, I want to show you something, right? This letter that I'm going to show you, all right, and I'm going to share it with you. Hopefully you could see it. This was the letter. Everybody see this all right? Can everybody see that all right?
Yes.
This was the, you okay?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. This is when I worked for the with the Linfield office. All right. And this letter I didn't share with anybody. All right. For a good 5 years, because this letter was working for me. So this was a letter that I sent out, and then I would call them up when I was working with FSBOs. And this letter, I did it almost word for word, because a woman from California said, you know, she gave it to everybody and said, just change it around, put your picture on it, put your company name and everything on it, and you use it, because it actually tells what we can do for the consumer without listing their property. And then if you want to follow up with a phone call afterwards, you know, do it. So what I did is I grabbed this letter and I would send it out to all the FSBOs. And then I would follow up with a phone call. So see what it says? It says, dear homeowner or home buyer. Remember, this is something going way back. I got this in 1999. It said, the purpose of this letter is to introduce my real estate service team to you. This is not a solicitation for you to list your house with us. Unlike many in our industry, we believe everyone has the right to try to sell their own home if that's what they want to do. Our experience in real estate has shown us there is a lot we can do for each other without you listing the house. Some of the services we provide for you without you listing your house include. Now, these were all bullet points that the girl from California was using. Now, we also offer a lot of this stuff too. So the first one was provide a computerized loan origination service. It says we can counsel you and your buyers on financing options available and help you obtain financing. Can we do that today? Absolutely. What's it called? It's called pre-approval. We have loan offices. We have in-house mortgage companies. We have loan origination services. We have insurance companies. We have everything through Century 21. So this is not a lie. You can provide this to a FSBO. The next thing is buyer agency. Represent you as a buyer and help you find a new home. Do you know that most FSBOs, guys, they're buying, but they don't have an agent on the other end? We could tell them that we are giving them, you know, we can provide them with buyer agency service free of charge if we wanted to, you know. So, you know, a lot of them don't have representation. So we can be a buyer's agent for them, even though they're selling the house. Relocation services, okay? We provide relocation services. If they're moving out of state, out of the country, don't we have a relocation company? Sure we do. We have Cardis. You know, we have a company that can help them relocate. Market evaluation, review homes that have sold in the area currently on the market to give an idea of the best price range for your home. Couldn't we give someone a CMA, a FSBO, a CMA to see if they're accurate in the prices? Sure we can. Seller's net sheet. We do that all the time. Discuss the closing costs with a seller. What does the seller pay? Well, they're going to pay, if they're not paying us a commission, what other fees are there? There's stamp tax or transfer tax in Massachusetts. There's closing costs. We can go through that with them. We can help the buyer sell their home. If they had a buyer that was putting an offer in, right, and needed to sell their home, couldn't we represent their buyer and keep the deal together? And we can also provide professional service information. You know, that's services on the mortgages, attorneys, insurance companies. These are all different things, right, that we can help them out with. So that letter, which I can get off to you guys if you want to, just send me an email. You can plagiarize that letter and create your own letter. Now, I also have, when it comes to for sale by owners, I have dialogues that you can use. So hopefully you could see this page here. I'm going to reshare it just in case. But I also have dialogues. You know, if some of the things you can say. This is when I went to the Floyd Wickman training classes. So I also have that. And I also have different letters. Okay? These are different letters. If you don't want to use that other letter, all right, these are letters that I obtained in my sales training going along. And I also have a list of more letters that I can send you that you can send off to a FSBO if you wanted to. So quite a few different things that you can do. If it, you know, guys, I just want to remind you here that, you know, the phone is the key. Where do you find, you know, where would you find a for sale by owner's phone number? Again, on a sign. If you look online, you're going to see, you know, most real estate agents have to put RE, which means they're a real estate company. But if not, it should say owner, and then you can call them up. But that was my technique that I used to work them. You know, that's you know, again, if you wanted to use that technique, go right ahead. It works, but you know, you got to have a thick skin. Don't just rely on FSBOs, but it's another cold market avenue that you can use, and it's more untapped than anything else. Now, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to take a quick 5-minute break here and come back and talk to you about expires and a different way you can utilize expires. But there's a little bit more competition on expires than there is on FSBOs, you know. But this is a great market. You know, don't be afraid of them. Okay, they need our help. They just don't know that yet. There are some that can do it if they price a house right. And that's another thing. You got to do some research on the FSBOs that you're working. Run a little mini market analysis and see if they're priced right. If you feel they're overpriced, you want to work them even more because you know it's not going to sell. So does anybody have any questions on anything I kind of went over? Denise, Renee, I know we got up. There's a question
No,
coming.
I'm good.
You guys okay? Darlene, good. Thank you. I appreciate it. That hopefully that helps everybody. You know, I'm going to unmute you all there. So if anybody wants to just talk, again, this you know, the FSBO presentation will be on. You know, I'll make sure it goes on the site. Does anybody else have anything to add?
No,
No.
good. Thank you.
Anybody working on them right now? No.
No.
I
Okay.
did years ago. I haven't in a long time.
Okay. It's tough to do, but they're there.
Good time of year for it.
Huh?
Good time of year to start it.
Absolutely. I mean, let me tell you, if you sell one of them, you'll love it.
Right?
I mean, if you work one and they end up going with you, the lousy part is when they, you know, when if they do sell it on their own or whatever. I mean, you can't get discouraged. That's why you got to work a few of them at the same time.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 5-minute break. I'll come back. All right, and I'll go through the expired presentations with you. I'll go through a couple different techniques and some different sites that you can go on when you're looking for expired numbers as well. So we'll take a 5-minute break, okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. See you in a few minutes.
Okay.